in the upper left, in the blue, in this qualifying match to move on to tomorrow. And a final shot at IEM Katowice. It's Lambo. Bottom right in the red. This is his final shot as well. It's Creator. Although I do think it's important to point out as we get into this game, as we start to talk about what's happening here, it's important to point out that technically this is not the last shot for either Lambo or Creator. They could win DreamHack Atlanta, and if they win DreamHack Atlanta, that's a qualifying spot to IEM Katowice. Now, is that likely? No, not at all. This is a much easier, even if it is, even if you're Lambo, you got to beat someone like Creator. Even if you're Creator, you got to beat someone like Lambo. It's not easy. It's a lot easier than taking down Cyril en route to his 4th ESL tournament this year. As he has won. He didn't win Katowice. He lost in the round of 8. But he won Jönköping. He won the summer regionals online. He won Jönköping. He won winter regionals online. And we're going to have to see if he wins winter as well. So he's just... Cyril's dominating the ESL circuit this year. And I think that well, technically if Cyril wins, I imagine it goes down. I'm actually not sure. I imagine the qualifier goes down, right? So it's like, well, Cyril didn't win, or Cyril won, so second place gets the qualifying spot. Oh, the second place spot also is qualified. It might go down a little bit, I think. I need to look at the qualifiers. Or maybe it's not going to count Atlanta. I guess it's not. I guess it doesn't count Atlanta. Actually, it doesn't count any of it doesn't count Jönköping either. It is, it just technically counts the summer winter regional events. I'm just looking at Liquipedia though, so maybe not. This is actually totally the last shot then. Okay, so Stargate opener from Creator. That's not weird. This is very much how we've seen PvZ happen for quite a while now. But what I'm looking at, the thing that I've got my eye on as we get into the early game, get into the mid game, is that we've been seeing a decent amount more ground-based PvZ as of late. We've been seeing Protoss players go Colossus play, stay on the ground a little bit more. And in part, that's because Broodlords, their effectiveness, the effectiveness of the Broodlings have been nerfed a little bit as, well, Depths are going to find their way in. 2 drones should be the tally. I mean, it's a lot of lost mining time and 3 dead drones. Lambo, he's not happy. He cannot be happy about that. And by the way, when we talk about being happy, being not happy, the other storyline, on top of, hey, this is your last shot to qualify, well, even just to qualify for the qualifiers for Katowice, Lambo and Creator are both players that I would say are pretty famous for having, well, to quote from the Way of Kings, excuse me, not Way of Kings, to quote from the King Killer Chronicle, that don't exactly have emotions of Ramsden Steel. They Creator more than Lambo, certainly, but they can get in their own heads. They can let their emotions get the better of them. So losing 3 drones to a couple of Depths early on, doesn't feel all that great. Now, what I didn't see, because we were talking about the macro thing here, is whether this was a second chrono to Depth. Based on the timing and based on how Lambo wasn't quite ready for it, my guess would be that the second Adept was also chronoed, which is something we've started to see a little bit more. It's something that tends to flow in and out of the meta, but it appears to be more and more in the meta right now. Just a little bit more harassment, making life a little bit more complicated for the Zerg player earlier on. Now, the other thing, okay, there's the second Oracle getting added in. So Creator, he got a couple drones with the first attempt. Lost both the Adepts for it, but 3 Lings, 3 drones for 2 Adepts. Yeah, you take that. And now it's 2 Adepts and 2 Oracles at the same time, and it's going to force things to be in awkward spots. But they're not synced up yet. So this is, again, where you really want to go. So there we go. Okay. Adepts shading back home. Never mind. I thought they were going to try to shade in. Lambo's defense this time. is better. It's better positioned. It's better set up. He's got queens where he needs. The adepts actually don't even try. So Lambo, he takes a couple drones early on. That's not ideal, but everything else is going pretty nicely. These oracles, between the two of them, have 0 kills. Absolutely nothing. And Lambo behind this. Their lair is just about done. It's not, I mean, it's not a slow lair necessarily, but it's not a fast lair. It's not leading into any sort of crazy timing as oracles. Ooh, find an angle. Queen's now defending where the 4th base wants to be, so that means that you can go in and get 5, 6. He's not going to get the 7th. The queens have too much damage there, but 6 drones go down. That's always going to be very nice. By the way, Creator is getting active on the map. This is hero style. Well, not quite hero style. There's a robo on the way, certainly, and it's timed out with +1. But this idea about getting active on the map with your stalkers before blink is done is something that was very much characterized hero style. Swarm toss, as Steadfast called it last year. But even still, 4th base under a heavy threat here. Lambo he's in a rough spot. Make no mistake about it. This 4th base is gonna get canceled. And the stalkers on the right side, yeah, a couple of them will fall, sure, but lings are given in trade. Oracles retreat home, and Lambo's a 3-base Zerg against a 3-base Protoss at 6 minutes into this game. And +1's just about done. Blink's done. We got a 4th base on the way for Creator, technically right around the same time that Lambo's is. And where's this Spire on the way? It's behind the mineral line. Oracle's thinking about diving in. Are they gonna see it? Oh, they're gonna snipe a... No, they're not gonna snipe a queen, and they don't see the Spire. Okay, that's important. Because Creator is going to get into mass disruptor play behind this. Yeah, he's got stalkers. They're gonna have blink. That is something. The Ling's not looking for a cancel on the 4th base, but there should be an oracle and stalkers. This, actually, no, this is gonna force a cancel here. Yeah, very nice Lambo. Tons of Lings on the other side, and well, it's gonna force Creator right back home, buying the time that you sorely need for the Spire to come up. If Creator had been allowed to hit on the 4th base right around that time, first of all, 4th base would get canceled. Second of all, I think it kills Lambo. You're going to be banking gas. You're going to be banking resources when you're trying to get into muted. And if the Protoss player can hit right around that timing, it is rough. But instead, Lambo gets his way onto the other side of the map. He delays the 4th base. He kills some stalkers. But more importantly, he buys time. And now there are 13 mutas on the way. 14 in total is, I think, the number we're going to get. And Lambo's got +1 lings. They shred if they're really left alone. 14 mutas on the way. And if Lambo can take map 1, this is the Protoss map. This is the map that you really expect Creator to take more than anything. So lings are going to try to dive in, and well, they're not going to get much for now. But where are these mutas? Clumped up. Right side. 1-2 punch getting ready for Lambo. Army on the left. Stalkers, roaches, or roaches, ravagers. Well, ravager lings. Mutas on the right side, and it seems like Creator has sniffed this out. I don't know if he saw it or just he's realized that the pressure here is lacking too much in tech, lacking too much in supply. So now Phoenix are on the way. Second Stargate is on the way, but the question is really whether it's going to be a little bit too late. There is Splash. Stalkers are here. Disruptor, or Colossus is here. Disruptor's here. Ling Ravager's not going to break this. And now Phoenix are on the way. Second Stargate's on the way. This first idea out of Lambo didn't... He can still find value, absolutely. But this map, of all the maps to go for mass base trade style, which is what Ling or upgraded Ling muted does, that's the goal. You're never going to win a straight up fight, but you will force a base trade. That's what that's for. But a Creator's 4-base setup is so compact and tight that it is really hard to be able to really start to tear the Protoss player apart. It's not easy at all. So second Stargate's done, and I think Creator's... Well, no, okay, no. He's building more Phoenix. We're on 4. He's going up to 5. Gonna be interesting to see what he thinks his magic number is. And for now, units are going to try to find their way in. There are cannons here. Shield batteries there. Stalkers, they're going to get a muta. It's 2 probes for a muta. You gotta do more. So Hydra Den on the way. Lair on the way. +2 melee on the way. I wonder if we're going to see lurker transition would be solid. The units that generally counter lurkers are also pretty, or that counter stalkers are pretty bad against the counter mutas are pretty bad against lurkers and vice versa. But the problem right now is Creator's maxed out. And this army that he's got here with Phoenix to defend, and what are we at? Where's our Colossus number? I can't. There we go. 2 Colossus Disruptors, adding in Archons. Meters are going to go for the. Oh, they're going to get a Colossus there. Very, very nice. But again, even still, this army out of Creator is really, really strong. And the stuff that Lambo has, he's got a lot of Banelings, and the Stalkers are going to link forward. Disruptor is not going to get much of anything, but the Stasis Trap will. And now the Mutas, again, they're going for the base trade. Stalkers are going to warp in back at home. The Phoenix, they're not sure where they need to be. And that is a problem. The Phoenix, you do want them to just defend the Mutas, track them down. And this is getting damage done on the other side. And realistically, that Stasis Trap's going to time out soon. Creator is not handling this well at all. I guess maybe you wait for the Warpers, and maybe that's the play. You want that second Colossus to get added in. Disruptor is going to be beautiful. Absolutely massive there. Gets a lot of Banelings down, but now on the back side, there are Phoenix chasing these Stalkers. Banelings looking for the engagement. A Stasis Trap is again fantastic. More Banelings will fall. But our Phoenix count, it's at 6. Okay. More importantly, the Muta count's down at 8. So the Mutas are done. This is a complicated army. That is absolutely something that Creator has to deal with. He has to micro the Phoenix. It's a lot easier. Well, it's a lot easier for the Muta player to deal with this, and he's got to deal with his army at the front line. But these Stasis Traps are doing oh so very much. The Banelings are going to finally start to crash in, but at this point, so many of them have died. The Archons as well. And you look at the supply and you say, it's not that bad. Lambo's got the supply lead. Okay, fine. These is 2-1 Blinkstalker, Colossus, Archon, Disruptor. The Mutas, they're all dead. There are Vipers on the way, but they're not ready in time, and this 4th base seems destined to fall. In fact, look at what Creator's doing. He's keeping his Stalkers forward. They're the army that can kite and run away, and making sure that there's just not some crazy surround that knocks down all of his Colossus, all of his Disruptors. He's taking the slow burn, and honestly, if you want to talk about it like that, the slow burn is not what he wants. He could win the game right now. He doesn't want to let his opponent get to a heavy Viper count. That's where life gets a little bit more complicated. That's a little bit harder to deal with. But if you dive on top of the Vipers with your Phoenix, who the hell cares? We're going to see a Disruptor. Well, one Disruptor won't land because it's going to get picked up, but Vipers, one of them will fall. The other 2 get very low, and the 4th base dies again. So Creator's up in supply. He's got 3 Colossus this time. The Viper count, Viper HP is not great. And then Stalkers are going to get 1. They're going to get 2. Bye-bye. Vipers are gone. The Colossus, that staunch line of lasers. Well, the Stalkers are actually in a bit of a rough spot. But it doesn't matter because the Archons are here. The Colossus are here. Once the Banelings go down, the charge lots are going to be able to do whatever they want. We have Phoenix in the sky for a little bit more value. And, hey, more Stalkers can get warped in. Lambo's dead. Game 1 on the Protoss map goes to the Protoss player. Creator takes game 1. In the upper right, in the blue, down a game. He had opportunities. The Muta play just didn't work. For the Rebellion, it's Lambo. Bottom left in the red, up 1 game into this series. His name, of course, is Creator. And as we're progressing in this series, if you like what I do, if you want more StarCraft games 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern is when they go live. You should, of course, follow me on Twitch, absolutely, but also drop a sub to this YouTube channel, like the video. It really does help with it actually helps so much with the algorithm. And let me know, have we hit the point? Is Protoss good against Zerg now? The recent stats for the top 8 players against top 8 players would suggest so. 53% PvZ. But even still, we're going to find out. And also, if you want Stormgate news, Stormgate content, that's also a good reason to sub to the YouTube channel, because I run Stormgate Nexus, and in my view, I've got the best Stormgate coverage. So you should go check out that website. But also, want to stay up to date on things, or just want my ramblings and news things about a new RTS, hit that follow button as well, or hit the sub button as well. There we go. A game 2 here. Again, it's going to be a hatch block, so 3rd base as the natural for Lambo. Again, pretty solid standard play. But game 1, we saw Lambo try to go. He went Mutiling, which, as we were talking about in game 1, is a composition that isn't really designed to break Europe or to win a fight. get a lot of banelings. You can get some roaches, and maybe you can catch your opponent off guard. What it's supposed, sure, but what it's supposed to do, the goal is to go and rip your opponent apart, get them into a base trade effectively, and win that base trade, because +1 or +2, even adrenalings, especially adrenalings, are so good, and mutas are so good, and they're so mobile. Are they going to beat a bunch of Blinkstalker, Colossus, Disruptor, Archon? No, they're not. But that Blinkstalker, Corruptor, Disruptor, Archon, whatever it is, will not be as efficient, or not as efficient, will not be as mobile. As Creator keeps the drone, or keeps the probe alive. Only gets 1 link for his treble, so it's not going to be quite as much damage as game number 1, and it's not going to be, well, no, maybe I need to remember to look for that more. Anyway, Adepts, 2 of them now. On the other side of the map, looking to split the difference between the main and the third. Now, 1 shade's on cooldown. Well, actually, no, they're not. Never mind. So, 2 Adepts into the main base. 4 Lings, a Queen here. This should be enough. How much gets targeted down is the question. Lings for now. Dying drones. Oh, nothing dying just yet. Lambo on the good pull. 2 workers will go down. Make it 3. Is he gonna get 4? Ring around the rosy. Stuck in the posy. Not enough. Anyway, here comes the Oracles as well. So it's a very similar gameplay from Creator in game 2 as it was in game 1. Go with the Adepts, try to get some damage. 3 drones is wonderful. And there's no Spore in the main base. Yeah, it's 2 Queens, but it's 5 dead drones before 4 minutes, which is just, off your first Oracle, you don't expect to get that much damage done. You're going to try to get some, but this is, again, just so nice for Creator in this game. He's got his 2nd Oracle. And the interesting thing, actually, that we're seeing here is that, well, he's keeping this. Generally what we see is the Adepts go, and they're going to keep the 3rd base alive against the link pressure. 2nd Oracle runs across the 3rd Oracle that keeps the 3rd base alive. In this case, because Creator is stacking his Adepts pretty consistently into the main base to get a couple drones, which is probably worthwhile, he is slowing down the next round of pressure, because he does have to keep that 2nd Oracle at home just to make sure he gets his 3rd base up. But it also enables that damage, and 3 drones before 4 minutes is worth more than 5 drones before 5. I think that's, I don't know that the numbers are quite right on that, but it's close enough. You know, it's the earlier you get economic damage done, the more it matters. Even if you technically got less workers. Now Oracles are going to try to dive in. Once again, this time they're Queens. There are Spores. Not going to get much done. Discount the Roach Board. That's always going to be really, really nice. No, Adepts try to dive into the 3rd base, but this time they're not going to get nearly as much. And by the way, as a reminder, if we're talking about what this means, this is a best of 5. It's not a best of 3, but this series is a must win for both players. This is the last qualifier for IEM Katowice. You lose this, you're out of the qualifiers. You're not attending IEM Katowice. It's just not going to happen. So for both players, for Lambo and for Creator, this series is a must win. But is this game a must win? Not really. You hate to go down 0-2 though, and I don't know what map 3 is. If it's Red Huset, good luck, Lambo. It's a pretty solid Protoss map. But anyway, for now, Oracles are going to dive into the main base, get a couple more drones, and a lot more drones. It's just a Queen and a Spore. Good target fire there from Lambo to make sure it's only 5. But if we look at this, 11 dead drones in this game. Now, for 4 Adepts, not 2. That is absolutely something that we have to take into consideration. And this is a lot harder map to cancel the 4th base on. Game 1, we saw Lambo go, and he got his 4th base canceled very quickly. It was, well, he went, and it was very exposed because that map is Golden Aura, and the map is very far away, and the 4th base is a little bit further away. This one's a little bit harder. Now, Blink is done right now. Stalker's in the speed zone, though. You got to be careful. If they set the speed zone, they're fine, but if they retreat back from it, Lynx can engage a little bit more. So for right now, they're poking, and it's going to be an attempted run by as well. Again, Lambo trying to catch these Stalkers because, again, there's no Robo yet. There's no Warp Prism. With that being said, at the front line here, this army is starting to do a lot of damage. Adepts and Stalkers. Stasis Trap does get triggered. Lynx on the other side just not getting anything done. So I like the idea from Lambo. I really do. But it's 22 dead lings for 2 stalkers, and that's not a ton. And Lambo's actually misrallied a couple overlords. If Creator ever sees that, in fact, yeah, I think he's going to go back for it right now. This is going to be, so Lambo's at 145 out of 168, 158. He's not going to get supply blocked, but he's going to get right up there on the edge of being supply blocked, which that's 300 minerals down the drain in a game where, you know, you got to be pretty tight on things. Doesn't feel good. Now 4th base on the way for Creator on the bottom side, mirroring Lambo's expansion pattern just a little bit. The Lings are going to get on top of this very quickly. The army of Creator's not here, so as soon as it goes up, it's going to go down. There's the cancel. And this is an army from Lambo that's got a lot more beef to it. Bailey's try to waddle in. 2 drones go down. Not a ton. And actually just not worth it at all. That was 6 Banes? 7 or 8 Banes, I think. But Colossus on the way, Disruptor on the way. This has been how Creator's been playing, at least in this series. We saw in game 1 as well. Get the 4th base, sure. But very much, you're sitting here, you're committing to this. And not necessarily an all-in, but certainly a pre-hive timing. Once you get 3 Vipers, it's really hard to keep you the Disruptors and the Colossus alive. But before then, Blinkstalker Colossus with +2. Ooh. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And again, Lambo is supply blocked. He keeps rallying these overlords and he keeps losing these overlords. And that's not exactly where you want to be, but here comes the pressure. Army thinks about running on through. Stasis Trap 1 gets triggered, gets a Ravager. Stasis Trap number 2. Okay, that gets a couple roaches. Force fields will kill off a roach. Nothing incredible here, but the most important thing is this is buying time. Is the Oracle on top of the Ravagers. That's 100 gas down the drain. You love that. But here comes Lambo trying to find his way through, trying to find that run by, and the Oracle is not targeting Ravagers anymore. It's instead just trying to get a roach. This Colossus is all by its lonesome. Should go down. Maybe. No, it's going to micro backwards. For the time being, it's going to be okay. Roach is trying to dive on in, but the Stalkers are here, and they're going to blink backwards again and again and again and again, and the cannons are so dang strong here. Shield batteries as well. This attack got nothing. And when I say nothing, absolutely nothing done. This was not worth it for Lambo in this lattice. You can say, hey, Beo, look at the supply. It's a 30 army supply lead. Sure. It's 30 army supply lead of roaches and lings. There are 3 Colossus on the map. Disruptors, 2 on the map, more on the way. Warp Prism getting added in. It's like a similar situation to game 1 where, yeah, Lambo's up a base and he's technically up in supply, but you look at the quality of this army and it is just not there. And again, I love what Creator's doing here. He's not balling his army up. He's keeping the tech behind just to make sure that he doesn't run into issues. Now, that's a Colossus that's a little bit exposed. That's not great. These splits from Lambo, honestly, are really, really nice. He's going to get surrounded. He's going to be forced to recall. And only 1 Colossus gets out at the end of the day. Creator, I was talking about how I like keeping the army back like that. It's if Lambo created or committed more, which he did. He brought roaches around, not just lings. Suddenly, that's a rough move from a Creator. He can't ball his Stalkers up around the Colossus and then, well, hey, you're not killing those nearly as easily. So the Colossus were dangling. 1, 2. Yeah, 2 of them went down. Stalkers on the right side, though. His base won't fall, I don't think. And actually, there's no recall. But lings are going to surround, and it's only +1. It's not the worst thing ever. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map as well. This is getting multi-prong here. This is fun. So Stalkers in the middle of the map. They're going to have to blink backwards, I think. Yeah, just the army's too small. Meanwhile, on the right side, doing a pretty solid job here. But here come the roaches. They're going to find things again. Where are our Disruptors? They're going to find their way down the ramp for now. And the shot's going to not going to get a ton. But Banelings will get targeted for the most part. Stalkers, well, more importantly, Colossus will run forward. And now Immortals are getting added in. And again, Creator, his supplies in a better spot. He's only on 4 bases. Lambo does have the 5th, but it's 78 workers to 77. It's absolutely something, and it is somewhat of an economy lead, but it's not a full base lead that you might otherwise expect. Sooner rather than later, though, it does feel like Creator will need that 5th base, so what we're seeing him do here with the stalker position, he's trying to see where the army is and see if he can snipe anything else off. Get a couple banelings is really nice. But mainly he wants to see where he can safely expand. Or maybe he can take a bitch battle somewhere and kill a decent amount of enough of the army of the Protoss player that then you're able to go and make something happen. By the way, Zealot run by no charge is not effective. Zealot run by is dead. We do have 2 warp prisms on the map, one on the left side, and then one. I assume this is not something that's been forgotten. This is just going to be with the army, which is pretty cool, actually. So you have the harassment. It's not too uncommon, but you have the harassment warp prism, and then you have the micro/warp in warp prism, which is always pretty fun. But now Creator's been able to max out. Charge is done in just about 15 seconds. He's got +3 attack about halfway done, and this okay. He's going to try to take the rich gas as his 4th, which, you know what, actually gives him a decent position to attack and defend from it. Consolidates the game state just a little bit. As the Zealots in the main base, they're going to get a queen. That's pretty nice. Nothing more than that, though. Not for now. And these banelings are going to get blinked upon. They're going to maybe turn around and get a stalker or 2, but that is, again, not cost effective. So, army, that's a lot of roaches on the right side. Okay, so Creator's double expanding here. I wonder whether this is an actual double expand attempt or just saying, you know what? I probably can't get both bases up, but I can get one of them. And I don't really care which one. So for now, I mean, he's got a lot of his army on the north side of this base. The entire army of Lambos on the bottom side. So the play here, this base doesn't get up. It's dead. Absolutely. There's no saving it. So the play here for Lambo or for Creator is he's going to kill this base. Absolutely. And then you recall. You get as much as you can do. Oh, he's going to catch the army in the middle of the map. Lambo's trying to rotate on over here, but now he's going to try to get on top of this base. So if Lambo... Oh, Creator's going base trady. This is awkward. I thought the play would just go and kill a base, then recall on over to the 3rd, but instead, probes are going to find their way out. Creator does have first mover's advantage here. He's going to get another base. So it's 2 bases for 1 at the moment. 21, 22 dead drones, and you know, I don't hate this for Creator. I really, really don't. And there's it's an awkward recall. It doesn't catch everything. Recalling onto the, where's the recall? Back onto the, that's a bad recall. And we're getting some lag here. I don't know who it is. I hope this is not something the players are dealing with. They're not pausing, so I guess they're okay. But anyway, Creator goes and loses a significant amount of his expeditionary force. Disruptors fall down. That's the stasis trap that will fall. So Lambo's lost 2 bases. Creator's lost 1. Disruptor gets a couple more roaches. Lambo's on 37 drones. Creator's on 62. Everything is in a good spot for Creator right now, except, of course, for the fact the Lambo's got 150 army supply. And if he can sledgehammer through this, it's going to be really solid. Zealots get on top of the banelings, which is not the best necessarily. But you're just trying to buy time right now. Buy time for these Colossus to come out, for +1 armor to be done. And I think he has. Meanwhile, Zealot run by on the main base. Gets 11 more drones. So 26 drones for Lambo. He's got this base on the left side that Creator is aware of. Yeah, I was going to say, he sees the creep. So this will fall. And again, somehow this base is still alive. I really thought that Lambo was at the very least going to get 2 Nexi. I guess it's gonna die. It should die now. I don't know if that Lambo or that Creator knows just how good of a position he's in. He's gonna lose this base, but again, there's not a. This is about half a base. It's not really what matters nearly as much. So that supply lead is not. It's still there. And here comes Creator's army. So a bunch of roaches. These are 3-1 Colossus, 3-1 Immortals. Now there is a Viper or 2. That's a big deal. These Colossus are going to get abducted, all 3 of them, into the front lines. The question is whether there's enough in army. Now Bile will get a lot of these Archons, but it doesn't matter. Not at all. The army's too big, too strong, too well upgraded, and Lambo had 0 economy. Creator goes up 2. In the bottom right in the blue, down 2 games, 15 hatch, 15 pull, denying the pro block here on Oceanborn. It's Lambo. And in the upper left, up 2 games into this series. His name, of course, Creator. And I love this decision out of Lambo. He's just said, you know what? To hell with this Chrono second adept BS. I don't want it. Absolutely not. It is not worth it. I've taken too much damage in the early game twice in a row. And again, that Chrono second adept is worthwhile because the natural is going to be here. The main base is going to be here. It's really hard for the Zerg to defend both. So instead, you go 15 hatch, 15 pool, gas cancel on both. It gets everything that you need up in time. It's a little bit less effective, a little bit less efficient. Effective is not true. A little bit less efficient than you might otherwise like it to be. But it does make sure you get your natural at your natural. And if you have a Protoss player like Creator being that annoying, not a bad idea. The other interesting thing we got to point out here is we have not seen anything weird out of Creator. It's just Oracle opener, 3 oracles. I guess chronoing the second adept is maybe the weird thing. Not even weird, it's meta at this point. But I guess again, it's super meta. It's adept into triple oracle, enabling stalker. His response, we're seeing a lot more ground toss. That's absolutely something that Creator's doing. And we haven't gone. And, well, we haven't seen anything wild from Creator yet. No, I don't know that any Protoss build is truly wild unless we're talking about Firefly, who unfortunately, well, he actually has qualified for Katowice, and hopefully with the lead time for this one, they're going to be able to get it. They got 2 months. Fingers are crossed. By the way, when we're talking about Firefly and the fact that he's not going to be at Atlanta, that's not ESL's fault. They sent the stuff forward as quick as possible. They sent the information as soon as they possibly could, but he's never left China before, and apparently that's a problem. Or that just makes life, it makes it harder to get a visa that way. Is this the story that I've heard? Regardless, there's not a lot of oddness coming out of Protoss players for the most part, but we can say if there's a map to do it on, there's a map to do it on. It's when you're up 2-0. So anyways, it's going to be disruptor drops coming out of this game, which is pretty fantastic. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. If there's a map to do weird things, again, we talked about it. We saw the Robo buying time until we saw what happened. Yeah, dude, this is going to be 2 base disruptor drops here, which is you know what, Creator, he's going for the NA Classic and the NA Server Open Qualifiers. Love to see that. That is, oh, yes. So, what happens here? You get Warp Prism speed. Yep, you want that. You get across the map faster. It's more micro ability. You put 2 disruptors in a Warp Prism. There we go. Ideally, you're getting drones. That's always going to be really nice. And the thing here as well, so what we see a lot of Protoss players do, they're going to take their first couple units, they're going to put it in a Warp Prism, they're going to try to get damage done, and then they're going to return back. They're going to get those disruptors. You do have to be careful. You don't want to take hull damage here on the Warp Prism. This is cool here. Oh, this is pantomiming. So Adepts warp in, they get canceled. This is pantomiming something that it's not. Roaches are on the way, which are just about the worst possible units to get when we're talking about dealing with disruptors. So both disruptors on the map right now. Warp Prism speed is done. Disruptors are going to get picked up, running in. And behind this, Creator's got a 3rd base on the way. Disruptors, excuse me, Adepts are going to be able to defend that, I think. Where'd they go? Yeah, okay, they just went to the natural. Here comes the disruptors. Now, oh, so if you can get 3 queens, if you get queens clumped up like this, problem is there wasn't, oh, unfortunate there for Creator. The Warp Prism not far enough forward, so he couldn't get them both up on the high ground, but here comes shots. Oh, if he gets 4 queens, good splits. Oh, good splits out of Lambo. Only one goes down. And it sounds like I'm cheering for a creator. I'm not. I just think playing weird builds makes me happy. So what do you do out of this? War Prism took some damage. You got to be careful. He gets a queen, runs back home. What's the play out of here? Well, it's very, very simple. You're going to get a couple Colossus. You're going to go back maybe to Disruptors behind that. Blink on the play. You get that third base. This is going to turn into a 3-base all-in. Creator's going to have 2 Disruptors, 2 Colossus generally. He's going to have Blink and he's going to have +1. And he's going to be on about 6 or 7 gateways. And that is the entire point of this. You get damage early on, you slow the Zerg down, and then you shove through. You get damage done. So Disruptors, yeah, I don't like this drop. Yeah, there's too much here. Lambo's doing a really good job of shadowing where his opponent's Disruptors drop is going to be. And that means that this has killed a grand total of 1 queen. No drones, no roaches, no ravagers. And again, the entire goal is to push through, is to get damage done, to slow the Zerg down so they're only on 3 bases maybe, so they've lost a lot of stuff. But Creator's pushing even before Blink is done. He's pushing even before +1 is done. Try to take advantage of the fact that, well, Lambo may know the timing, so you're going to hit not an anti-timing, but an off-timing. But he's going to back up for now because, again, Blink and +1 aren't there. So we back up for the time being. His Dark Shrine's on the way. Blink about halfway, 2/3 of the way done. Blink and +1 should be done in about 40 seconds or so. The thing that I think is really interesting is when I looked at this build, I said, okay, you know what? It's Disruptor drops. Fine. That's going to go into a 2 Disruptor, 2 Colossus all in, or a 2 Disruptor, 4 Colossus all in, something of that nature. Well, he's only made a single Colossus. As these Disruptors not getting edged, nothing. Creator not paying attention enough. But instead, we've got 2 Disruptors, or 3 Disruptors, a Colossus, and adding in Immortals now. So Blink is done. +1 is done. 3 Disruptors, a Colossus, Immortals getting added in. The gateways finishing up right now. +2 in charge are on the way. And Creator's playing this kind of middle of the road. He's playing this as if there wants to be some transition out of this. And I think maybe it's because he didn't get enough done, but his supply is not bad. Truly, his supply is not terrible. But I guess the one thing that he hasn't dealt with, and one of the downsides of this build, is you don't contest creep spread all that well at all. So creeps on the middle of the map. It's going to take a while to push through. Lambo's on 4 bases, 5th base on the way. But again, these are +1 Blink Stalkers. At the very least, these are +1 Blink Stalkers, and Roach Hydra Ravager is a flimsy composition. So Disruptors are going to take a shot out for now. They don't get a lot. Creator, it does feel like Vipers are on the way. This is when he really needs to get something done. If he fails to find value here, feels like the game's going to have to go a decent amount longer for Creator to really get what he wants done. Because again, once Vipers are out, Disruptors, Robo units in general, they do lose a lot of their effectiveness. So second Stargate on the way, second Robo on the way, 4th base on the way. Creator solidly getting himself into the late game. It's not the best supply right now, 150 to 200. So it's the calm before the storm, really. Link's thinking about a run by. They're not going to go for it at the moment. Disruptor on the right side, Army on the left side is thinking about maybe killing some rocks. I don't know. But they're going to try to... they like this. A couple of probes, not in the Aegis of the shield battery, so 2 workers will fall. It's not a ton, but most importantly, it's knowledge. It's a scout. The Lings will die. That's a nice catch for there. That's a nice catch there for a Creator, but Lambo is starting to go and build some semblance of a bank. Oh, Disruptor there. Gets abducted. Damage on a queen is something. But again, I don't like Creator's army composition right now. He's going to have to posture. If he lets Lambo push into him, it's really going to be a problem. So right now you're posturing. Lurker range is a thing. You're posturing right now. You don't want Lambo to siege up in your face. You will lose that fight. He's got a fleet beacon on the way, 3rd Stargate on the way, adding in more Disruptors. I like the off angle, but he's just going to get abducted and killed. There we go. But hey. Disruptors, again, they're not going to land, but they get some of the Vipers at the very, very least. But all the high-tech units, they're going to fall down. Even still, it's not that bad of a fight for Creator just yet. Adding in more Disruptors, adding in more Immortals here. Line of sight blockers a problem, though. And I mean, it's a significant one. So here comes the army. Creator looking for this round from either sides. Maybe on the backside, knocking a queen down or something. Army through the middle of the map. Actually, he's going for a bait. He's going for a bit of a base trade here. He knows he can't fight the army. Carriers are on the way. Doesn't have a lot of bank for more, but he's adding in a carrier, and he's saying, okay, that's fine. You know what? You have this army I can't fight. I'm going to catch you in the middle of the map. I'm going to kill your lurkers as they return home, which is any sort of fight he can do like that is so very nice. But you don't go up the ramp with the immortals, though. A bunch of the lurkers will go down. Now on the other side, the base is not going to fall down just yet. There's the Biles, kill it. But if you can keep this other fourth base alive, what was the fifth? I think we consider this a success. Ah, no, the rally though. Disruptor. Oh, not enough. Not enough at all. And now Lambo, he's going to max out pretty much once he has the larva for it again. Creator, this is what I was worried about for the last 5 or 6 minutes of this game. Yes, it's his map pick, but he committed to this style and he just didn't have the timings. So he's got literally one carrier on the map. That's not enough. +2 blank, no armor, no +3 on the way. Lambo's got 1-1. He's... When was the last time you saw 2-2 when 2-2 was ranged armor and attack? Just classic Roach Hydra, but for now, abduct on the Warp Prison, so there will be no saves. Yeah, there's a carrier on the field. It truly doesn't matter. Hydras are here. They're going to be able to target this thing down, and Lambo is going to get the first game of this series. Again, I think it's a result of, well, Creator didn't get enough done in the early game, and that snowballed from there. That means we got more games in this series. Lambo takes a map. The bottom right in the blue. Down a game, not going for a 15-15 this time. He's Lambo. Upper left in the red, 2-1. Finally took a loss, but it was a weird opener. It was his gimme build. It's Creator. And that build is all predicated on the damage the disruptor gets. If it gets nothing, you're probably not going to have something that works. If it gets 7 drones or kills all the queens or even just gets a couple queens, it's something. It gets a bunch of roaches. You got to do something with it. And Creator was not able to find the opening. There was enough lings on the ground, the queens on position, that he just never got what he needed. And then, well, that means the timing is slowed down. The timing is less effective. And in general, it's not a lost game from the fact that he didn't get anything done, but it was a losing proposition at the very least. It's something that you're not particularly happy about if you are a Protoss player. So we're gonna have to see what happens here. We're on game 4. This is again Lambo's map pick. Does Creator do something wild again? Does he get a quick Robo again? Maybe a quick Twilight and go Glaives, or is this just going to be the thing that won him 2 maps in a row? For now, though, there's the first Adept getting built. Does he chrono it a second time? Okay, there. He's chronoing it, but it's going to be a different opener. Adept Stalker on the way, not Adept, so less pressure, less potential there. But he's not even going to get the Overlord. It's got the Perf Pillar. It's got that pylon that you can hide over, so this doesn't really do all that much, but Adept into the main base, 2 lings and a queen. I wonder why. There's the second gateway on the way, by the way, filling up the walls. Oh, that's why. I should have known better. Actually, is that Jet? No. Yeah, that doesn't even make sense. Well, no, it does in a sick kind of way. So it's double Stargate coming in from Creator in game number 4. And what that means is that opening Stalker, or Adept Stalker in this case, both these units cost gas, is weird. Opening Adept Stalker, Warp Gate before double Stargate, all of these things are weird. These are things you would expect to see out of a... I know, unfortunately, I didn't quite see when the Warp Gate timing started, whether it was like 315 or any before or after like 320. Or 220, excuse me. But everything that Creator has shown, the Stalker, the quick warp gate, everything else does not scream Stargate opener. It certainly doesn't scream double Stargate opener because, again, generally a Protoss player is going to want to be going and want to be pumping gas, want to be saving as much gas as possible so they can get as many Phoenix or Void, generally Phoenix at this point, as many Phoenix as possible as quick as possible. So the fact that he said, yeah, it's a Stalker opening, it's fine. This tells Lambo, this is selling Lambo a story that doesn't exist. Lambo is going to pump a bunch of links, try to maybe go for a cancel on this third base, which is slower, by the way, and that's going to be an important thing for Lambo to see. The fact that, yeah, you know what, it's 446, but there is a third base on the way, and he has seen that at least one of these gases are taken. So all that does lead to, okay, this is actually going to be an expand. It's not going to be anything particularly crazy, but this could be pressure to an expand. And he's not going to know exactly what it is. So we're seeing Lings get made, Roaches get made here. He's getting ready if this is maybe a 3-gate glaive build or something. It's not that, though. It's just where are the Phoenix? Where are they? Did I sell them? Where are these? There they are. Now they're going to show their ugly faces. And this is going to be the first time that Lambo's going to have any idea what's happening. So he's going to get an Overlord. But as much as I like what Creator's doing, this idea that he's hidden it, he sold the wrong story to Lambo, he does need to get damage done. And you actually need to get significant numbers of drones because the way the Zerg plays is they accept they're going to lose workers. So for now, a couple drones will fall. The Queens actually are pretty... those Queens are very vulnerable. Off creep. Creator... I don't know why he's not diving in those. These Queens should die. Like, I'm sorry. Those Queens should fall down when they're separated like that, when there's no high energy Queen nearby. You should just kill it. But instead, he's going to dive into mineral line at the third base. The Queens are not, and it's going to be more dead workers. Now, but I like what Lambo's done here. It's 2 spores per base. At least in the third base. I guess maybe not the main and the natural. But generally, the math says that you should get as many Stargates or you should get as many spores per base as the number of Stargates. So 2 Stargate, double spore per base. Just because there are a lot of Phoenix. And more drones are going to go down. He's just not... I feel like Queens are valuable targets, but he's just not wasting the time on it. More drones will fall. But again, when we talk about Phoenix play, you have to get... Oh, jeez, that Phoenix is alive. This Queen should die, though. Kill this. I cannot believe he's not killing the Queen. It's just... something about that hurts me. As the one Phoenix just stuck there. It's like, you're almost dead. Have fun. So now we stand. We're at 15 dead drones, 3 dead overlords for 1 Phoenix. That's not a bad number. But when a Zerg plays this, they're just playing it on the understanding that they will lose drones, that life is going to be a little bit awkward. So they're just, you build more drones. This is what it is. You pump more units out. But there are a lot of Queens. This is 12 Queens on the map. And more Roaches are on the way. But the big deal, there's Nidus Network on the way. And I don't know, has this been scouted by a Creator? No. He's been living behind the mineral lines, not the front of the mineral lines. So this Nidus is going to go down. Charge is halfway done. 2 Immortals on the way at a time. 3 of them already on the map. Creator is down significantly in army supply. But that's a lot of Immortals. And if you can find that by the time to charge, it's going to be really nice. And we got Archons as well. So this army, it's not supply expensive, but it is expensive. It is extremely cost effective here. Creator... his army is worth a whole hell of a lot more gas than his opponent. It's just about these Queens and these Roaches and these Lings. And I like the fake, by the way. The Nidus at the front, it's partially a fake. It's the whole, hey, look at me. You know, I'm not attacking through your third, but also it means that if the third is held, it's going to be a rotate to a different position. Even still, 4 cannons, a shield battery, Immortals are here, and the Queens are going to slowly move forward. Now, this Nidus in the front is never going to work here at all. Not in a million years. There's cannons. They're going to kill it off very, very quickly. So ideally, what we're looking for is, I like the Queen going out early, just getting creep out. Ideally, what Lambo's looking for is some way to get a Nidus where there's no defense. But there are 4 Immortals in the natural, soon to be 6. Not as much static defense to be sure, but still a lot of Immortals here. And this army of Creator is rapidly getting very strong as Lambo supply blocked as well. Phoenix killed that. So Phoenix are on the other side of the map, the way getting damage done. Biles are not going to land just yet. Shield battery overcharge. is doing a whole, it's doing a lot as they kite backwards away. Immortals on the left side killing all the queens. And for the start of this, it's looking pretty good for Creator. I think he's lost 1 Immortal. Stack defense has fallen down, but we have 6 Immortals on the left side. Yeah, that's pretty good. Supplies are very much starting to equalize right here. More Archons on the way. Storm getting added in. The next level play, by the way, is to get a bunch of High Templar and just feed back all the queens. I know that seems wild. That seems not worthwhile, but I think that is actually the play. Because the transfuses are the problem. It's not these Immortals. They gotta get past everything. They gotta bring their army to bear as now lifts are happening. And the army, it's a full surround coming in. Creator, can Lambo fight his way out of this? Does he have enough? I am not convinced. He's up 40 army supply, but the Immortal count is so freaking strong. The queens are running out of energy. This supply is going to start to fall down very, very quickly. And now everything's going to get lifted here. Immortals are just, they're not dying whatsoever. Yes, 10, 11 probes have fallen, but the Immortals, the fire base is standing so strong, and the rest of the army is lifted up. It's not going to happen. The Lambo, the all in from Lambo. Immortals are better. Immortals are so good. And yeah, it's 11 dead. It's 11 dead drones. 11 dead probes, excuse me. But at this point, Creator's only down 3 workers. And now Overlords are going to go down. This Nidus should fall. We don't have an Overseer. We don't have an we don't have an Observer just yet. Lambo, does he have an Overseer? Also, he doesn't. So technically, I was correct. And there's no Warp Prism, so the running across the map thing is not gonna be too quick. But it's on the way. More gateways are on the way, and Phoenix on the other side are getting a couple more drones, so even the economic advantage that Lambo might have had is not great. And the creep's gonna get cleared up pretty quickly as well, so it seems like Creator's totally fine to take this a little bit later, get a 4th base. I don't know that that's necessary. I think he could just run across the map and end. And okay, so he's gonna do both. Get the 4th base, secure yourself into the late game, but also Storm's done. Tons of High Templar. We're looking at 10 Immortals on the map. That's a lot of Immortals. His Hydra count is at 12. That's scary against the Immortal count, technically. There are Storms. There are charge lots. This army from Lambo is just not good enough. Storms on everything. And by the way, there are more where that came from. This is not just the 1 round and then it's done. So you have to be careful there. You don't want to lose Immortals, but the base is killed, not even canceled. And we're going to see these spores get tacked down very quickly so the Phoenix can be more effective. And this Concave, Creator's just holding it. Finding his way in, and the Storms. They're disgusting. At this point, Lambo's in this game because, again, you lose this game, you're not going to Katowice. And unfortunately for fans of Lambo, for fans of the German Zerg, it's not going to happen here. This Immortal count is too strong. The Storm count is too strong. The economy is too weak for Lambo. He's going to have everything lifted. He's dead. Good game, grats, he says. And Creator moves back, returns to Katowice. Almost. He moves on to the closed qualifiers tomorrow, where he's going to have to face a couple other people for that honor, for that glory. But for now, he moves on.